Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. Today we're doing my top 10 plays of 2022. These are games that might be new to me to playing, or it might be a game that I've revised my rating on. Now, hopefully you'll find this of interest. Some of them you can already find on the channel. Let's talk about a newer version, or in fact it's the first edition that I picked up, and that is Your Bluffing or Coup Handle. This is the kind of game that got me into board gaming, but this has got a promo which I have sleeved with some sleeves, but I have yet to try out. That is Your Bluffing, and I even showed it to Tom Vasel, Z Garcia. They had not seen this version, and I showed it to Mike Delicio, who I know had not played the game at the time. And yeah, they were over in Essen and they did not play any games. They were just meeting people, which is fine. I managed to play about 10 games myself, which isn't many, but there we go. That is Coup Handle. The next game is another game. I'm initially starting off with games that I have played before. That's Elements. I've revised my rating up to like a 9 out of 10. Two-player game. I played it a lot last year in particular. Some new people who hadn't played, sometimes just some two-player, situations whereby literally what do we play as a two, and people really enjoyed Elements. Next up is the final game, which is a game that I have played prior to last year. I've now got everything for it pretty much. That is Andor. So I've now played it so many times. I've played through all the different fates for Legend 3. I'm ready to move on, obviously, to open that first big box expansion, exasperating people with that fact. The next game is not mine, so I don't have it here, but it's Dominant Species Marine. The person I played it against happened to be playing it as a 2, because it can be quite a long game. Great explanation, let's say they're a great teacher, because I happened to win a score of about 250 to their 125. I said, oh, can I do this? And it kind of completely imploded their score. We got through all our species, which was very interesting. And the next game was also a game which is actually a different person this time. It's a solo player game that they very kindly lent to me, Under Falling Skies. So you can see my video on the channel for that as well. Next up, a game that came out 2019, but did then a big box edition, and it is the BGG 100. That is Lorenzo Il Magnifico, and that's big box. Still gets to play as a 5, which is what the big box provides, but highly enjoyable. It was literally my game that I was going to say was my best game of last year, especially from a Euro perspective. Next up, we have got the Detective Society. So the Detective Society is a cooperative game. It's a puzzle solving game with lots of tiers going on. Very much enjoyed this, 9 out of 10, very impressed with that one. So I've got a couple of those. Again, you can see my video on the channel for that too. Next up, a game which is basically a re-implementation of Patchwork. It's by Uwe Rosenberg. I've played over 35 of his games, and that is Stack and Stuff. So I played that on a nice neoprene mat over in Germany. Very enjoyable, 25 minutes or so, just having a game of that, and very much enjoyed it. The next game is also a cooperative game, and I don't own it. In fact, the person who lent Under Falling Skies to me has it, and it was Exit House of Riddles, which I think is the second best in the Exit series, having played over 25 of them, or at this point, all of them. Next up, we have got probably my number one game, which happens to be Pandemic Hot Zone Europe. So yes, I've played North America. I've played all the pandemics as well, all 15 plus. In this instance, though, it is hard. It's a very quick game. It's why play Pandemic for longer when you can play it quickly. And yeah, I played in North American in 12 minutes. I think you even won in that one. Never won this one. Different characters I'm not as familiar with, which is why I guess I'm going to get more immersed into it, more into the tactics, and very enjoyable. So another 9 out of 10 game. So a number of co-ops in there, and I do have another co-op which arrived, which I haven't played yet, which is Atlantis Rising by Elf Creek Games. It's very impressed, of course, mentioned Z Garcia earlier. It is, I think, second best game of all time. This is the second edition like he has. Very keen to be trying out that as well, and hopefully found this of interest. That's best of 2022. So of all those games, what would I recommend? Well, it really depends what you want. If you do want a multiplayer Euro game, go for Lorenzo Il Magnifico. If you want a quick short co-op game, you want to go for obviously Pandemic, Hot Zone Europe. If you want a mystery game, you've got Detective. If you want a bluffing game, you want Coup Handle. If you want a Yomi style game, go for Elements. And if you want a cooperative game, which has a bit of some immersion and let's say sociability in particular, go for Andor. Hope you found it of interest. Please let me know in the comments and YouTube are best. Also via the subscribe button, you can get new videos all the time. They've been daily for a number of years. And lastly, hit the like button. Obviously head through to obviously the other parts of the channel, such as on Instagram. And for now, back to the table.